Okay, connection is excellent. Waiting for the data to come forth. Waiting for the data to come. I've also increased the bit rate, so so yeah, I think we can start now. Um, yeah, so hello guys, welcome back. So this is going to be the beginning of the workflow build automation system series, right? Where we'll be building a workflow builder like Zapier. So to get started, what I'm just going to show you first is I'm going to go through sort of what we are looking for to build, right? And then we can start with the project setup. So on the agenda today is that we're going to go through what we're trying to build. Some like a similar uh, application out there, software out there, right? A workflow builder out there, which is Zapier, popular in as Zapier, is what we're going to build, what we're going to be going through first. Then after that, we're going to start with the project set. We're going to continue with the project setup, which is setting up the Next.js, setting up the Clerk, and also the Convex database, and make sure all of these works together. Right, we're able to log in with create accounts and log in with Clerk. Right. So let's get started. So let me share my screen here. Yeah, sharing my screen now. I mean, I've done this live like twice today, uh, but each time my network is just so bad. Right. So yeah. So let's go to Zapier. So it's an example of what you're trying to build, right? So we can gain inspiration from there as well, right? And make some planning. So this is not a scripted coding series where uh, I already did it somewhere and I'm trying to do it again here or stuff like that. Like this is me going through every bit of it, like every bit of the thoughts, the thinking, the planning process, as the design, the coding and everything in between, right? For us to get the project from what it is like from now to what to launch. So from the build, from the planning to what to launch, like to get it hosted so that what people can try and use it. So I'm just gonna log into Zapier. So I'm logging into Zapier. So here we go. I've logged into Zapier and we're just going to go through. Let me click on one of these. This is untitled. Yeah, so this is literally how it's going to look like, right? Where we have like trigger. I think we could restart. Okay, let's delete this app and create a new one. So that we can know how it actually does looks like. So like if users logs in, right, they have um they have their Zapier, or they have their Zaps, right? And now I think Zapier has included tables, but not going to be dealing with that. In our home, we'll probably be adding like client, sort of like a CRM, but not entirely CRM. Like we adding client task, so that we can have something in that is internal as well, when it's good, like when it is a point of like you building um, an internal application, right, where you are not just triggering outside of the what outside like external APIs, but you're also what triggering something internal, like clients, or like client pipelines or something like that, right? So um, so this is what the Zap Zap Zaps look like. You have like the Zaps you can select. Sort of give you what is in there. You might as well do this, but and then you have like the name. You can turn it on and off. So this is what it looks like. So they have included the AI. We wouldn't be doing that really. So this is what we're going to be dealing with. So they have their trigger, their actions, and you can add, new steps in between. So with triggers, when you click on the trigger, it shows you the um, pop-up for you to select a trigger, right? They have series of triggers that you can use, like Pipedrive, webhooks, MySQLs and stuff, right? So let's do webhook. So when you click on one of the apps, right, it tells you to select the event. If you're catching a hook, or you're catching a raw hook or something like that. So we're gonna be having the app, right? We're gonna be having the hook at the event, right? That needed to be selected, right? Then you click on continue. You can go back and forth, but forth in between. Then you have the trigger. So the trigger is if there's a specific child key that you're trying to get, right? But in our case, we probably won't be doing that, or we might be, right? So you get the entire payload, like an object of like the data itself, and you're able to pick a specific key. Let's say you're having like a JSON, right? And in that JSON, you're having like data, right? Which is an array, but you're not trying to capture that specific key, which is data, right? Then you'll be able to like capture the key, right? In here, that's data. And the output you're going to be getting from this hook is going to be um, data, right? So you can test this hook. It's going to generate a URL, a hook URL for us to test with. So this is the hook URL. So we go to this URL, and let's say we pass in data, which is equals to, let's say, is an array of hello world. I mean, you don't do this, you're probably going to do like a post request or something, right? So what it does is that Zapier listen to that hook right? You see we got our response, attempts, the ID, the request ID, right? So test trigger. So it's listening, it fetches that trigger, that's what request that you make, right? Because there's sort of probably storing it somewhere, I guess. So whenever the request is made, or whenever something triggers, or like if it's Gmail, I think they sort of do polling, like polling for Gmail, right? Where they sort of like try to pull from Gmail every like 5 minutes or something, right? So uh, so we're waiting. Let me make the request again. But I'm sure it's network problem here. So it sort of returns data from here. This could actually continue. And then you have actions. Let's say the data we're getting, we want to use to send an email, right? Using Gmail. So we select the app that we're trying to use. So in that case, we're trying to use Gmail. Um, this is pretty slow. Yeah, but for someone that like you can possibly check out Zapier, and you see like how they sort of um undo their workflows. So we're trying to build something like this. That is what we're trying to build. Uh, this is not loading. Wait, let me refresh the page or something. But I'm sure this has to do with network. Hmm. Okay. A sort of network issue. I mean, that's the condition here in Nigeria. Yeah. So it's coming up pretty slow. That's exactly the problem in Nigeria is network. Yeah. Trying to get Starlink. If someone is going to pay for it. So we have the test, and as you can see, we made this request, right? This is a query string. Let's see, does it find any new record? But we can continue with this. Let's just continue with this selected record. So then it takes us to Gmail, and then we select the events we're trying to send. So let's say we're trying to do a send email event, right? So it's going to take us to connect our accounts. I already have an account that is connected, so you can choose the account you're trying to use. Well, so send email in Gmail. Send email in Gmail. So it's connecting the account, testing the account out to see if the account is working, I guess. And then you can continue. And then you have your actions. and then we can now set who are we sending it to. So we're sending to hello at world.com, something like that. Then we have like what is our message. So from our message you can get the data, right? You can see the data specifically is the hello world stuff. We can send that, and yeah. So and it, let's see, we can select the from is important because required. I mean, they should have put in required here so that we don't miss it. But we're gonna have this as well, right? We're gonna have this impute, and yeah, there you go. So and one thing you notice is on this, you see it's pulls. Let me select this again. It's pulling the emails from the Gmail to know like, okay, what are those emails that are connected to this Gmail, right? So it pulls this email 1234, then it pulls the EIT email as well, right? Because those two are connected to that account, right? So it pulls both of them in there, and we cannot select one, or you can have like custom. We're hoping to accomplish this as well, or we can just have a drop down or something. I don't know, like, yeah, when we start, and then we send the email. So we have the two, the from is there as well, the from name, let's say show, yeah. Then what is missing? Yeah, the subject, absolutely. Sample email, yeah. So then we continue, and if you are to test this, what we see is that an email will be sent, right? So this is sort of what we're trying to build, right? Where you'll be able to select your hook, your actions, and like this sort of like runs automatically, right? When you publish it, right? So the moment you publish it, it sort of runs automatically. Like, okay, people go to this hook, send a request to this hook, right? It gets it, get the data, right? And sends the data. Get the data, send the data, get the data, send data. So that is what send data to an email. And you can do this pretty much with a lot of things, a lot of applications, um, you know, MySQLs and stuff. But what we'll be focusing on is going to be webhook, client, task, email, mostly, right? But we're going to go deeper and see how many more applications we could actually do. So that's just the basic view of what we're trying to build, right? So with no further ado, we should start the project setup. So like I said, we're going to be using Next.js, right? So Next.js is a React framework for the web. Like, it's created by Vazel, as you can see, right? And um, I mean, it's Next.js is really awesome. Like, simple to use, easy to use. It's like you learning HTML, and you having to write your HTML. Like, okay, I mean, docs. Then inside of that docs you have index.html, right? So if you go to /docs, it sort of give you that index.html, right? So it's very similar to that, though they have migrated from page routes to app routes, which is awesome. And they have like server components, server actions, and stuff, and that's awesome. And they have your server actions, route handling, client and server rendering, and the streaming, right? They have optimization, and it's awesome. Like, it's really awesome. I'm still exploring Next.js, and just so we're going to be using this. So it's also going to help me learn more. And most of these stuff that I'm going to be using, like Clerk, Convex, X, they are new uh, technologies that I'm also trying to get to know more about. So, which makes this application that I'm building is as well, I'm trying to like build it live. Um, Show the process of building an application live, like the thought process, everything. It's not like it's built somewhere where I'm just trying to copy the code or trying to like do tutorials on something. But this is we building this application together, right? The workflow builder system together. So we're gonna be using Next.js. You can read more about Next.js. It's their documentation is awesome, straightforward, and yeah. So to get started, you just have to do the uh, npx create next app. So I've created a folder that we'll be using, right, which is the workflow builder. So I'm just going to paste the command into my terminal of that folder. So what we're just is just going to do is that it's going to create a next project inside of this route by doing I will do dot I'll do dot slash, sorry, do dot slash to tell you that it's this current directory. So I'm gonna let me let's see. Okay, I think I need to just delete this. Okay, so we're telling to create it in this directory. Are we using TypeScript? Yeah, let's use TypeScript. TypeScript is awesome. Let's try it out. Yes, lanes, no. Tailwind CSS, yes. The source, no. App router, absolutely. Yeah, we're not customizing that. The ads, the alias is okay. So what is going to do is that it's going to install all the necessary packages that we need to get the app running. Yeah. So let's wait for that to complete. And why that is ongoing, like I said, we're going to be using Convex. So you can go to convex.dev, right? You can go to convex.dev and you can read more about, the documentations and everything, pretty much friendly, right? And Convex is easy to integrate with Clerk, right? So that is why we also be using Clerk for the authentication. So both are easy to integrate together, and they even have like templates that could be used, right? That you already have the connections and everything ready. That you just have to what? You just have to um, clone that component. So for Convex, what you have to do is in a next app, you create your next app, you install Convex. So you do npm install Convex. So this installation is done. Convex, let's start the application. So you run npm run dev, all right, to run the development environment. So expecting to see is just the boilerplate for Next.js, right? So this is just the boilerplate that they have for this. Okay, so we have got to set up our Next.js, and one thing that I could show you pretty quick before we continue is that in this app is where everything goes in, like the API. So to have an API, you just have to create a folder called API, right? And in there you can have your folder, like let's say dummy, right? And in that dummy folder we're going to have routes.ts. So routes.ts is what is used for API routes, right? But for the pages that shows, they use page.tsx, right? So outside of the API, we could in here we could create there are a series of methods, right, that you could use, like the get, the post, the put. So you can use all of those here. So you just have to do export const get, right, for the get request that is being sent to the server. So you can make it async, and you can expect your request body and request, and you can use next request since we're using TypeScript, right? And to send a request for this, you have to return a next response, right? And we can make it a JSON, and then inside of that we can send our data, which is let's send a message saying hello world, right? So now if we go to /API/dummy, what we're going to be getting is this JSON of message hello world. So let's do that, /API/ /API/dummy, right? And now you can see we're having the message hello world. So that is literally how it works. So if you change this to a post request, so what literally happens is we go here, you see the page is what it has been moved, right? Like it's not loading because like we literally don't have any get request for this. We're only having post request. So if you have if you make a post request to this endpoint now, right, you get this response. So for pages, you can create another page. Let's call the page test. In here, let's call it test, right, folder, and we are going to have page.tsx. So inside of test, right, we must always have a page.tsx, like inside the folder that is a route that we're trying to have, is a file-based routing, right? So inside of that route, we must have a page.tsx. So that page.tsx is what is going to serve as the page, the content that is going to be shown when you go to /test. So let's do that. So let's export default. So what also you need to know is that there are server component, there are client component. So for server component, you can use an async function, and we can call it page or test page or whatever. So and it's basically like writing React. So you write your JSX in here, and we have hello world test. So when you use async, you don't use React, you can use async for the page, but I think React is now having their server component in beta. So that sort of explains. So it's basically just having the same. If I do let me first show this page. So now if we go to /test, you see the hello world test, right? One thing is in React, when you do a console.log, let's say testing, you're expecting to see it in here, right, the console, right, but what is not showing. So because this is a server component, in Next.js, the component by default is a server component. So we get the testing in this terminal, in the terminal that we're using to run our backend, right? But if we want to change this to a client component, right, we'll have to use a derivatives of use client. So when we do use client, now if we come in here, you see we have the testing come into the console. So that's how it works. That's the difference. That's like how. So with the server components, you're able to do some server stuff in it, right? Some server logics or stuff, right? And then you can sort of take that down and show to the user, and then we can pass in client component in the server component, right? So let's say we're having a page that loads, yeah, let's say YouTube. When you go to YouTube, what first load is like it first load the boilerplate or something. So that is returned from the server, right? And all these are coming, through suspense and stuff. So something like that, right? So let's continue. We can get rid of this, the dummy, the API. We're not using those yet, and we can get rid of everything in here, right? And just have an H1 that says workflow builder / automation system. We go back to the home page. We get that, right? That's cool. So now let's look at what Convex. So to start with Convex, you have to install Convex first. So we install Convex. So that's it. npm install Convex. Convex is installing, and when we install Convex, we run the npx convex dev, so that it sets up what our development environment for us. So if we run this, it's going to ask us some questions. I've connected my my Convex account on this computer before, so it's as automatically connected. But if you have not connected, it's going to route you to Convex to log in, right? And you can log in, and after logging in it's going to route you back here, and you can select if you want to create a new project or an existing project, or you can create a project in here, right? And copy the environment variable down to the .env. But this is cool and easier because it's automatically going to create a project if we want to create a new project or select an existing project, right? So if we're creating a new project, like we're creating a new project, absolutely. Then it asks for the name of the project we're creating, which we're just going to use the workflow builder that comes by default, which is the name of the folder that we are in, right? And one thing that you see is going to create. You see that it creates the workflow builder here, and it automatically writes the functions. It automatically added the env, the local, and one thing you see that we have a new folder called Convex, and in that we have the generated, and we have the readme and the ts config. So this is, you can read more about Convex, which is awesome. But this is how you interact with your Convex database, and like you're able to create functions, cron job, and also they have file storage. So you can also make use of that feature as well if you want to. So yeah, which if we go into the project that was created for us, you see we have data, we have files, right, for file storage. So that's going to generate upload URL, and then we upload the image, then we get the storage ID, and we can store that in a file or something, right? We can deal with that, but we literally don't have to. So, and then you have the schedules. So, and you have like the cron jobs, that you're able to do the cron job.interval.daily and everything, right? And here you have your mutations that you can run a scheduler, right? A scheduler sort of like schedules it, okay, runs after this time, or like run every this time. So the cron job is like run every like daily, monthly, other stuff. And you have like scheduler functions where you have some schedulers in it. So we're gonna get there because I think we're gonna use the cron job this on the scheduler as well, because um, there's some part of the application that is gonna need that, right? Probably like checking if the access token that we have for maybe Google or Gmail is still active, right? And sort of refreshing because it's automatically goes. I think it automatically goes then after 30 days or something if not used, right? So we can implement that one as well. So that's convex, and you have functions. So there are some functions that you know um, like all your functions actually come down to convex. So it auto deploys all your functions, your queries and stuff. It's auto deploy them down onto convex dashboard for you to see. Though this is the convex is not available open source, so you can't literally have it set up on your computer. You have to be connected to the internet. Yeah. So let's continue that. We have convex set up, and let's test out some things on convex. So let's create a schema. So to create a schema, you have a schema file, schema.ts TypeScript, and we can go to the documentation and check about their database schema. So to define a schema, you use the define schema define table, and let's just copy this as our base schema. We can change this. So for this, let's say we're just having counter, and let's say the counter is gonna have it's gonna have an ID, and it's going to have let's see let's just say users, right? And we're just gonna have the user name, right? We're not going to be using any indexing for now, so we're gonna have the username, let's say ID which is going to be v dot e. This is a validator, so we have v dot string string, right? So this is just referencing and stuff. So one cool thing about convex is that you can literally start with like having a non-relational database to having like a strict relational database, which is awesome, right? So yeah, so we can always we can do like insert, but let's do this first. So let's do name, and so what you see down here is it's checking for the index, the schema, and like auto deploying it. So if we go back to our convex, with the thing here, if we go back to a convex and we go to our data, you can see now we have the users table in here with no document. So now how do we actually make use of this? So let's use our page here. So there's something like to read the data, reading data, you can create a document or like a file, right, which sort of represents let's say functions. It's sort of like like function that you want to sort of run, right? Like categorization or something, right? So in here we have, let's say we have user dot js. Oh no, ts. Sorry, name that to be ts TypeScript, and then we can what? We can use the query to query. So let's say we're getting the user, get users, and we're having the we're not having the task, we're not having the argument, we're not having anything in the argument, so this is going to be empty. And then we have the users to be coming from so we have the cdx dot db dot get. Okay, so it's expecting an ID of the user, but let's do db dot so cdx dot db query tags. So yeah, exactly this is what I'm looking for. Yeah, the db dot query, and then we have users, right? And then we collect all the users that are available there, and then we return what? We return the users. Okay, so we start with that. So this is exported, and then we'll be able to use it somewhere else. So when you're using to use the retriever that we just did, you can use it in the page. So that is in the documentation as well. Yeah. So yeah, so this is how you use it, right? Do the use query. So if you're using the use query, that means you're using it in a React. So in the client component. So let's turn our app, like the main page, this home page, to what a client component. And then in here we can have our users to be await no to be use query, which is going to be coming from convex / react. And then we have our API. So the API is coming from the generated API, right? And then since it's automatically like compiling everything and generating for us, right? It's sort of have type safety. So if I go in here and I change this user, I change it to users, right? So what you see is it's checking for the indexes, it's making the changes, and it deploys the function, and the function is ready, right? So yeah, I can do it now. Users, right? Get user, and since this doesn't have any argument, if it does have an argument, we can pass in the argument. But since this doesn't have an argument, we can just leave it empty, right? And that's it. That's how we get the users. So let's say let's just create a div here and put this in here, and we should have like a pre something, and in there we should have a json.stringify, and then we have our users. So if we go back to our page here, the local host, Yeah, so one thing we forgot to actually set up is the convex provider, right? So to do that, we have to go to the quick starter, and we have to set up the convex provider. So yeah, let's do that. So to do that, in our app here, let's say outside of this, inside of the builder component, inside of the builder folder, we create a components folder, and in there we create a providers, and in the provider, let's create a file in convex provider .css, right? And then we can paste, so convex client provider, let's rename that, and then we can paste the code that it gave us here, right? We can paste that in there, and now we can go back to our layout, which sort of embodies everything, right? Like everything I have, and in the body here, or even outside of the body, let's say outside of the body here, we have the convex client provider, right? And then we put this body in there. So now if we go back to our page, you see the error is gone, but we're having absolutely no user. So we can do a create user. Instead of stuff, we can do an export const add user, but this time we're not using a query. We're not trying to query, we're trying to mutate, right? So we're going to be using mutation, right? So mutation, and in the mutation we have the arguments. So the argument we're trying to take is name, right, which is going to be string. We're trying to take let me confirm that again. Yeah, they're using with v dot string, right? And then we have the id, which is also v dot string. And if you remember, right, we are having, when we created the schema for users, in the schema we are expecting the id and the name to be inserted into the table, right? And then we have the handler, right? Then inside of that handler we can do the cdx.db dot insert, right? And it's inserting to the user. We pass in the values that we're trying to insert, which is the name, which is args.name, and id, which is arguments.id, right? So we can do the response. We can await that. We can await that response and return the response. Right, so we save that, and if we go into the page, so right above here, I'm going to create a button. There is a simple button which is going to be add user, right? And on that we're going to have on click. So when that is clicked, we want to do undo add user. So I'm going to create that function. So this is just all setting up the application, just testing out the convex to make sure everything works, right? So right, so then we have our mutation, and if we go to the documentation, right, you see the mutations, you see how we do the mutation, db.insert, we pass in the stuff, and here, right, the response we're expecting here is what is user ID, but let me say response. Yeah, so if we go to the database and we go to writing data, you see put in the argument we insert, right? So, and even for this schema, we relatively don't need an ID, right? We relatively don't need an ID, so I think Convex is going to generate that for us automatically. So we relatively don't need an ID. So then to use the mutation, right? To use the mutation, we can do that by what? Let me show you that from the quick start. Let's check that from the quick start. So we get the use query. Also, we have the use mutation. So we have the use mutation, which is coming here, right? Then we use the API that uses that add user, right there. Then we can now call this mutation. So let me sort of turn this into an instant function, and yes, await this mutation. Then we pass in the name, which is chill tester, right? And then we console log the rest. Okay, so now if we go back to the page, right here we have the add the user button. We can add the user, and one thing you notice here now is we're getting the created time, right? We're getting the ID, right? And we're getting the name. So we're getting the data that we created back. And one cool thing is you see that this sort of happen instantly. Like Convex sort of have like a stream connection, between the database, right, and the client. And when changes happens, we sort of get it instantly. So which is awesome, like really awesome. So let's just show this to 2, and I had that, and then you see it automatically has to this page as well. If we refresh, right, you see it gets us the users as well. So we have confirmed that Convex is working perfectly, which is awesome. So now it's left for us to integrate Clerk. So I've been having problem accessing Clerk website today. Let me load that again. It's taking way too long. Let's see. It's no location. So sometimes you just have to find a workaround. So let me do the VPN. Let me try VPN for that. Let's go to Las Vegas. Unfortunately, I'm unable to connect to VPN as well. It's probably literally have to do with so I do used to be able to. Let's see if there's any new version. So let's uninstall the one we have, and How do I get rid of this guy? I've literally forgotten now. This download is going to take a long time, and we don't have any recommendation on what to use. This is not working. Maybe we should change the connection to somewhere else. Let's do Germany, Berlin. This live is going to 1 hour, and yeah, I want this to end pretty quicker. This is going to an hour already. So we're connecting to Berlin, connected, but we got disconnected somehow. Somehow we're getting disconnected. Let's try that again. No. So even like no matter what we try, I don't think it's gonna work. Let's try Miami. Yeah, it's disconnecting us. So yeah, let's quit this. Yeah, I think what we can probably do is let's go to the Chrome store, Chrome web store, and find a VPN. That'll be faster. VPN. I had a summit. Let's see. Let's try this one. Let's try that one. So it's been added. Is it fast VPN standard? So it's not able to get any available proxy. It's not getting the proxy. Yeah, it's error when getting available proxy. Let's try another one. Maybe we are restricted from using VPN or something. But if I'm not able to access Convex, access Clerk, we just have to find another way to do that. Just gonna find another way to do it. So we have the basic, accept, start VPN. Yeah, sure, that works. Netherlands. Let's go to Clerk and see if it works. Or maybe we can switch from Netherlands to somewhere else. Let's spin these. I don't think this is working for us. Let's start this. Let's change to the United States. So let's off this and then on it again. And still we're not allowed. It's not working. It's not working for us. Let's go back to the web store, Chrome web store. And now it's the VPN is sort of disrupting our network, I guess. Let's check VPN fast. It's not working. The Zen8 is not working. So we're not able to do any of this. So let me remove this. And let me remove the VPN sub as well. Let's try going back to the store. Yeah, that works. And then we have the touch. I think let's say the touch. So what touch does? We are 1 hour in. We're almost done with the setup. Yeah, almost done because so click on touch, connect. So it's connected. Let's go to Clerk. Yeah, Clerk is working now. Yay, class is working. So now let's sign in. So if you don't have a Clerk account, you can get started. So I already have like a Clerk account. So yeah, I'm just gonna use my Google. So it redirects us to the dashboard. So let's create an organization. We're going to write a member and we hope that switches to the organization. Yeah, so we're now in the organization, so we can now create the application. So the application we're creating is the workflow builder, right? Then we select what we want them to use. So we want them to use the email, the Google, let's use GitHub as well, right? GitHub and LinkedIn. That's okay. Yeah, I think this is want them to use, isn't it? No, let's just the email, the Google, GitHub and LinkedIn. So this is what the UI is going to look like. So it's pretty simple to get started. So what we just have to do is we have to install the Clerk. So let's paste that command and install Clerk. Yeah, Clerk. Sorry, I thought I got that wrong. So let's install Clerk. So after the installation of Clerk, we should copy just like we had the provider for Convex, we need to have the provider for Clerk as well. So the Clerk Next.js is not yet fully installed, but we're going to set it up anyway. So, and we have the middleware.ts. So we have to set up. So middleware is sort of like where the request sort of pass through each that you're trying to access, or like any routes you're trying to access. So we put that middleware at the base level. So it's middleware.ts TypeScript middleware, and then you paste this. So I'm going to make the installation. Yeah, which is the VPN that we're trying to use. So we have sign up, we have set up our account, and it says in the JWT template of the client dashboard, tap on new and choose Convex. So let's go back to Clerk. Go back to Clerk, and we go to JWT template. we do new template, and then we do convex, and then let's go. Then after choosing convex, it says copy the issuer URL and hit apply changes. So it says do not rename the JWT token. So now we just have to we have to set this auth.config.ts. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go into the convex folder, and then we're going to have auth.config.t TypeScript. So this we're going to paste the issuer here. So which is we're going to get from Clerk, right? We're going to get that from Clerk. Copy this issuer and save changes. So we have the convex. So now we're going to paste the issuer down here. So we can close that, and our setup with convex, a setup of convex and Next and Clerk is completed, right? As you can see, so we can do the Clerk React to get the React components, right? And then we'll be able to use the React component. So now you see we have the Clerk provider, we have the convex with Clerk. So we have the convex with Clerk provider. Client is convex, and use auth is coming from. So in the client, in the convex provider here, we're going to be using convex provider with auth, right? And we have the client, and then we have the use auth, which is going to be use auth, that is going to be coming from Clerk, right? So let's go to Clerk, but this time let's go to the documentation. Where is the documentation? So yeah, they have their documentation, and the documentation we can get, so we get the sign in, the sign up, the sign in, right? And so we have the client side, helper, like the use auth and everything. So to use that, we have to install the React SDK for that, which is coming from this. Please make sure to install this as this. It's incompatible. Okay. So to use this, we literally can get that. So we do get auth. So client side, because it's a wraparound, you can utilize a hook. This hook gives you access to Clerk objects, and so you can learn more about this hooks in this, and then we have these hooks, right? And in the app router we can get the is in the pages router reference. We can use the get auth. So what is going to happen is, to use this hooks, we must install the because we can get Next.js, but let's do this. Since they have like slash Next.js, let's turn off this VPN. Is that? Let's turn off this VPN. Stop. Yeah, so disconnecting. I think it must have disconnected. Alright, okay. So now we can do our installation. Now. So we run our installation. This is taking longer than I anticipated. This is 1 hour 12. Just to set this up. Okay. Let's stop this as well, and let's do the installation again. It's not working, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the node module. Right, I'm going to install the Clerk Next.js, which is also going to install whatever is in the package.json, and we won't get that error. Yeah, cool. So we can restart this, guys. We can restart this as well. So I want to see if we have the use of. Yeah, so we have the use of. Okay. So it says to use this package, which we did, right? But when you're trying to use the use auth, we have all this, right? But oh, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna install the Clerk React as well. Shall we? Let's do that. Let's install that as well. And then we can get the use of from Clerk React. But that's still giving us error. So let's go to Convex, and here we have the use auth. And where's the use auth coming from? It's coming from Clerk. After we have the Clerk provider. Okay. So let's go to the layout. The Clerk provider should be above. Format this. And we will be using this. See, does our page load? Yeah, page does load, but I hate TypeScript errors. You know, I hate to be okay. Okay. So this is Clerk provider from Next.js. We've copied the secrets and everything, so we shouldn't have any problem. But this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with this. So let's continue. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have our sign in. So I'm going to create a folder just to sort of have a grouping, right? Then we have a sign in, right? We have a sign up, right? And this is the way they want that to be set up. Like if you're using any of the components, any of the Clerk component, that's probably not, that page is probably not going to load. So you have to switch back to VPN. That's very bad. Very, very bad. So we have the sign up. Yeah. We already made the configuration. We can make further configuration, but we want to check the overview. But these are the components we're trying to get at, right? So these are the components. But we when we want to show those pages, those sign in, sign out, we want to so we want it to handle everything for us, like, but want it to be inside of our application, right? So I'm gonna create another folder, not a folder actually. This has to be a file, the page.tsx, and then in that page.tsx we just have the sign up, right? Which is pretty simple. You can see how easy it is. So the same thing goes for this one as well. So you do this sign in, and then we do page.tsx, and we can do the same thing, but this time we're dealing with the sign in, right? So we put in a path, which is this word sign in, and voila, we have our authentication page ready. So if you go to our page, we can import link. So let's say below this we have div, and then we have link, which is coming from, we have sign in, sign up. So we have href that goes to sign in, and we have an href that goes to /sign up. So now if we click on the sign up, it's going to redirect us to the sign up, and now you see we have our login, our sign up page, right? Which you can do the email and password, right? Or you can connect with your Gmail. So we can still go back in here, right, and customize our authentication, right? How we still want it to look like. So there's this email verification code. Do we need password? We don't want password. So we save that. Going back to app, we reload, and you see now we don't have any password, right? Just continue. It sends us a verification email, right, that we can get the code from our mail, right? You see the workflow will be there, so you can sort of customize this email when you're in paid version. So, and then you paste in the stuff, and it redirects us. And now one component that we can actually use is this. So we can do a sign in. So a sign in component is sort of like, okay, this user has signed in, so let's do your welcome. We're still gonna so sign out, so it is signed out, right? And use this. Okay, both to come from the Next.js. Okay, and now you see the buttons are not there anymore, right? So I'm gonna have my logout button. So we have a p tag. We can log below, and then we have the log sign out button, right? So you see we have the sign out button that you can click and you sign out to see. When we click on sign in, put in the emails, submit, get the verification code again, right? Copy that, you go in and you paste the verification code, which is saying it's incorrect. Yeah, this is the verification code. Okay, and you paste in the verification code and then you get your director. Now we see the sign up. So for us to get the user that is currently signed out, so we can use the hop, and with hop you can literally get the user ID, but I think I want to get the current user. I think it's get user. Let's check the functions that are available in here. So we have the user, user. We have the use user, but I think it's this. Is allowed. Okay. Since this is allowed. So we have the user, and then we can use the user in here. So we have the user dot full name. Okay, and let me reload this. Yeah, it's not working. It's not working because we are not using. Okay, we're using client component, and we're signed in as well. Yeah, but we don't have the what, we don't have the name of the user, so but we have the email address. See, you're welcome. So for them to have the email, the everything, so we can say like if they're signed in, we show them that, and then we show them the user profile, right? We show them the user profile, and this is the user profile we're going to show them, right? It's a profile. They can update their profile, they can upload a picture, right? So let's say there's a profile picture. So let's see, this is image. Is this small? The save button is okay, it automatically uploads, sorry. So that's uploaded. Okay, right, we reload the page, right? You see we still have it there, And we can, for us to get it, like the name and everything, we can come in, check the name. We want the name. What else do we want? If we want the phone number, we say we want the phone number, but it's a pro feature. So you can also opt in for the pro version, but for this we won't be using any of the pro version. So if we reload this page now, we're gonna see we're gonna have name. We should have name, yeah. So the shell, so you save this. Now you see the name is showing there, and instead of showing the email here, right, we can now show the user the full name, or we can do just the first name. So now you see welcome show. So now we have sign out working, sign up working, right, where you put in your name in email to sign up, right, and to sign in. So this is the taking us out of the application. So for it not to take us out of the application, so the sign up URL, which is sign up, right, and the sign in URL, which is /sign in. So let's reload the page, and then sign in. You see we go to sign in, sign up. So we have the authentication working, we have the database connected, like hookup, and if we go to here, let's see, we are not really storing anything in here, but one thing is when we're creating user, right, let's say we want to save the user that is creating the user. So let's say it's owner ID, then that's going to be fee dot string, right? And now if we go to the user here, we're just taking in the name, right? But here we can now do the cdx dot auth dot get identity, so we can get the current auth. Let's say auth equals await. I think we have to await this. So then we can do auth dot is it ID? So let's start by storing the email, or let's say the given name. Let's say the given name. So yeah, the owner ID is going to be the given name, let's say, or default. So now if we click on the, let's sign in, let's get the code. They probably send me 2 codes. We're gonna fix that later, but so success, and we're having one error. Okay, to use our state this it's not gonna work. Yeah, cool. But now you're logged in yeah, we have the add user, so add user, and the user was added. Well, let's go. Okay, so it's saying the schema is not updating because so how do you do that? Okay, I think yeah, sorry, read optional. The string, an optional string, so we push that, and now yeah, we can now do the add, but let me do the pretty because this is not showing like we'd love it to show. Choosing the pass now. Just not using good anyways. So we had a new user, but this time is default. So the problem we're facing is with this use auth, right? So that no, it has to be the use auth. Okay, use auth. Nope. It's the use auth. Yeah, it seems there's something, unless I'm doing this wrong. Off. So with the configuration, we have the Clerk provider, we have the with Clerk. Sorry, it's not with auth. It's Convex provider. Wait. Provider with Clerk. Oh, we have to install the Convex React Clerk. npm install. Yeah, 1 minute. So we have the also put the token. So we have 291 191. Okay, so let's cancel this. Let's disconnect from the touch, and we're almost done. We're almost done with this. we just want to get the authentication to work with Convex, so that Convex can use the auth, like the identity. And after that, we are done with this project setup the first day. Then tomorrow we're going to continue by building a basic CRM sort of, right? Where we'll be creating the view that we're going to be using. So we're going to be setting up the basic view, the front end of like the tables, like client and tags that I made mention of initially. So we're going to be setting up those, and yeah, so that'll be what we're going to be doing tomorrow. So then but most of it we're going to link like the clients and tags. We're going to try and make sure we link them to the backend, to the database. We hook them up. Then the following week by Friday we're going to start doing the workflow UI, right? And we might as well do that just tomorrow, but we're going to start doing that. So this installation is taking way longer than I think. Start the installation. Is that conflicting with something? That seems to be conflicting with something, some way. Okay, I'm just gonna remove the node module. Right, then I'm gonna install this and see, unless we're having network issue. So this is not sort of connecting. Let's go to the package. This Clerk React has to go. So let me just do npm install only. So the npm install works, but we're having issue downloading the Convex. Yeah, we're having issue downloading Convex / React Clerk. That is the only thing. That is the only thing that is left for us to do. It's just what installing that, and after installing that, we're done. We are literally done. So let's try it again. npm install. Oh. Probably that might be available already. Is it? Let's see. seems to be already available. Oh, we're just wasting our time. We didn't need to install that. It has already been available. So let's do that again. Let's add a new user. So this time we're gonna say tester Clerk, right? And we're gonna add user. So do you save that? We did. So we're expecting it to. Oh, we have our apps removed. So we have to run the convex as well. Yeah, the two are running. Yeah, they are running now. Backfiling, yeah, function ready. So now we can let's see, network token. Yeah, it's getting it. Okay, let's clear this. Yeah, so now there's the add. So we wait because we're expecting. Oh, it's best if we just reload the page. I think that's the best thing we could do. Reload the page because the connection was cancelled. Yep. So now we can do the add user. Yeah, so now you see we have the tester Clerk and we have the owner ID to be issued. So yeah, so the others are working now. So tomorrow we're going to start big and start working on start putting the profile where they're supposed to be, the sign in, making it more pretty, and also dealing with some dashboards thing, right? Creating the sidebar, creating the tables, for clients, tasks, and then we go into workflow, right? The view that we're going to be using for workflow. So to get more experience on like what we're going to be using, you can go to, we're going to be using for the workflow, we're going to be using React Flow. So we're going to be using React Flow. So it's a package that is really, really awesome that allows us to create nodes, right? So you can learn more about the React Flow. Trying to get load. Yeah, exactly. So this is what we're going to be using, right? So we're going to create different nodes, just like we have in Zapier, right? We have like different nodes and like, so we're able to do something like this. Right. Exactly. So you can look more on that, and also we'll be using Sharcien UI. They have pretty cool components that we can use, to set up our dashboards and stuff. And because if you look at dashboard, you see they're having pretty dashboard, which we can use pretty quick, and like the task and stuff, they're having it, so we mostly won't be wasting much of time, right? So this is awesome. Because that would be probably low, then like so it's filtering task, so we want to yeah, it's the title that we're filtering here, so which is this, right? This is awesome. This is really, really awesome. This is awesome. Love this. Love like you know what you want to view, the columns and stuff. And this is cool. This is cool. So yeah, so this is what we're going to be using. They have cool forms that we can be using. What is a good theme? This is awesome. Awesome. So this is what we're going to be using, and you know, you can check more about React Flow, right, and chassis and UI, and we're using these two libraries, let's say, our packages to build our UI tomorrow and also build our workflow basic view, right? And that's it for today, and I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. So if you have any question, if you have any feature, like if you have any suggestion whatsoever, right, make sure to put it down in the comment, and that was it. Thank you.